Hey, and welcome back to the channel, everybody. I've got an absolute banger for you today, guys. It's a banquet of SimTools version 3. And today, as promised, we're back and we're going to do a live tune. I'm going to teach you how to capture the telemetry from your sim platform you're playing, whatever it be. Today, in our case, it's Assetto Corsa. I'm going to show you how to capture that game's telemetry. We want to capture the physics of the car that we're driving to give ourselves a good foundation for our motion sim to get accurate, clean motion. So what you'll do is you will start SimTools 3. Obviously, guys, you're going to need that. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to start it. A big difference between SimTools 3 and SimTools 2.6 is in 3, our games can be started within the SimTools UI. You couldn't do this with SimTools 2.6. You see this window up here on the left. As long as you've got your game plugin installed, it will show in the window here. Now, little idiosyncrasy, and so far I've only discovered this with Assetto Corsa, because I'm running Content Manager, which many people are. When you use SimTools to start Assetto Corsa, it will run the default Assetto Corsa program. It won't start you in Content Manager. Really easy fix, guys. Find where you've installed Content Manager. For me, it was on C drive. Find the folder, open the folder. In the Content Manager folder, there is the Content Manager exe. If you just grab that exe and drag it into this window within SimTools 3, it will then open Assetto Corsa in Content Manager. Now, I've already done that. I'm already in the game. I'm in the cockpit of the actual car that we're going to capture data for today. That's the other great thing about SimTools 3. SimTools 2.6, as good as it is too, I don't want to knock that. I use that for years and it's a great platform as well. But SimTools 3 gives us the flexibility of being able to adjust our axis assignments here, so our degrees of force, any filtering, etc., while we're actually in the game. So while we're in cockpit view in the game. 2.6, you had to quit out of the actual track, go back to the game UI before you could unlock axis assignments and change degrees of force or filters. Well, in SimTools 3, because it starts within here, look, I'll do this just to show you, because at the moment, even though we're in the game on track here in the cockpit, it's not connected with SimTools. If I double click on this, you'll see now it says it's running and I can't access my axis assignments. I can still access Tuning Center, which is what we're doing today. We're going to do a live tune capture, but I can't make any changes here. But what I can do is up here, once I've stopped the car or whatever, and I can do this at any time on the track, in any place. If I want to stop suddenly because I'm not happy with something, I can stop the car. I can stop the connection between Assetto Corsa and SimTools. Then I can access my degrees of force, my filters, I can access everything. So that's a great thing about SimTools 3 versus 2.6. Okay, what we're doing today is we are capturing the raw data to give ourselves a good foundation. What do we need to do? You will come from where your axis assignments are. Down on the left here, you'll see min-max tuning. Now, sometimes, guys, I might refer to this as Tuning Center. That's because it's drilled into my brain, because 2.6, which I've been using for a couple of years, it calls a min-max tuning Center. They're both the same thing. It's just SimTools 3 uses min-max tuning, not Tuning Center. They're interchangeable. What we have here, guys, is raw data that is captured from the physics of your car driven on the track you're driving on. Before we get started, before you load a car up to do this with, make sure you're in practice mode so there's no other cars that you can run into. And when you do this, guys, you have to stay on the tarmac. You can't drive on grass, gravel, dirt, or hit anything, okay? Can't hit walls, can't hit obstacles. It messes with the telemetry and all your telemetry will be thrown out and you'll basically have to start the capture again. That's why I recommend you just do it in practice mode, because if you hit cars, same deal, guys, your telemetry will be out. You'll have to do the whole live capture again. So now that we've got that out of the way, if you look here over on the right-hand side here in Max Min Tuning, you'll see this green circle here called balance, a blue circle called capture, and a little icon here that says locked. At the moment, if you step down, you'll see all of our available axes in the plugin for Assetto Corsa here. They're all locked out at the moment, so they're not capturing any data. Nothing's changing there. So these are all the axes actually that the Assetto Corsa plugin for SimTools 3 provides, okay, a roll rate, a pitch rate, a yaw rate, and all of these axes here that can be used on your motion sim if your motion sim supports these. For me and for the Dr. ADHD 4 degree of freedom motion sim, all we're going to be capturing today are roll, pitch, heave, surge, and traction loss. The roll rate, the pitch rate, and the yaw rate, I have to do a bit more research about those because they are active presets when I fire up Tuning Center, but I'm just not 100% sure what they do, what they capture. So for today's video, at least, we're just going to do a basic capture for getting good telemetry calculated with SimTools 3, so you've got a good base to start with. So what we want to do is we want to capture telemetry. So we're going to change these little icons to be the same as our blue capture up here. So for roll, I'm going to keep clicking on these icons and pitch and heave until they go into the blue for capture, meaning they are going to capture telemetry and data. All right, that's all I need to select for now. Just my traction loss, my surge, that'll be my surge rail and surge on the top frame, dipping and raising. Heave is the rough road surfaces we're going to pick up, bumps, dips, etc. Pitch is pretty obvious, going up a hill, going down a hill. Top frame will pitch up and down. And roll, of course, the sim will roll. We want to make sure that in our axis assignments, so in our axis plugin here, ours happens to be the 2D advanced. We're going to make sure that we've got very conservative degrees of force selected here. I'm not going above 10 for my pitch, roll, heave and surge, and that's on both motors. Motor 1, motor 2, left hand motor is axis 1A, right hand is axis 2A. And then on axis assignments B here, my surge is only set up at 20% and my traction loss is only set up at 20%. I can go a little bit higher with them on conservative because they are one motor for each one of those axes. They're not sharing different axes on one motor. So start conservative, guys, so you don't have too much motion when you're trying to capture your live tune data, because it'll just make it harder for you to drive and you'll end up crashing. You'll have to do things over and over again. So we'll slip back here to min-max tuning. Now that we've got these all in capture mode, we need to come up here under these three tabs here, capture, reset and save. We're going to hit capture. All right, then we're going to hit reset. This means that now our telemetry is ready to be captured, but you'll see here that nothing's really happening because we're not connected with the game. I'm going to double click on this to turn the game on. Bam, now you can see that we're actually seeing live data being captured by SimTools already. On roll, if I turn my steering wheel here, the suspension in the car and the steering rack here is causing that telemetry to change. So that's really good. It's very accurate. Now we're ready to go. Now that we've hit capture and reset, what we do now is not touch anything else in SimTools. Just make sure you're connected up here and it's running. Then click out onto the game. Now you're ready to basically do a lap and capture all the telemetry for the physics of this vehicle. I've chosen today Circuit de Charade, or the Clermont-Ferrand 1965 version by Rainmaker. It's got heaps of elevation changes, really rough heave, great cornering, great banking and stuff like that. It's going to really capture our data nicely. I just need to drive and not crash. And of course, as I said before, guys, staying on the tarmac, all right? No grass, no obstacles. So there we go. We've already got a little bit of traction loss captured there. Now, the literature, the SimTools literature says try and drive to about 80% of what you would normally drive, okay? So then you're at least forcing the suspension into roll and stuff like that. So you're catching as much as that sort of stuff as you can from the actual forces that are on the car in the game. So we do have to push it a little bit, but you don't want to overdo it so then you crash and have to start again, okay? That's the key. Now, Circuit de Charade here, it doesn't really have any rumble strips or curbs. When you're capturing the telemetry and data, it doesn't hurt to drive over rumble strips or to drive over curves, because that's going to induce more roll and more heave on those particular elements in the game. A curb driving up on it or driving over a rumble strip, it's going to capture data specific for those elements in the game. So it's okay to drive over those things, just don't drive on dirt or grass. Coming down the cutting here at Clermont-Ferrand, and it's very rough down through here. Rainmaker, who ported this from GTR2, I believe, he's done a wonderful job keeping that really rough heave, road surface heave there. So we're getting lots of cool stuff here, lots of banking. Now I'm taking it a bit easy so that my traction loss has probably not been used too much. That was a nice slide to the left. So we've got a little bit of a nice slide to the right there. So we're getting data there. Just don't want to overdo it. There's another one which is nice. Don't want to overdo it so I end up on the dirt and have to start again. But I do want to get them. That was a nice little slide. That's a great bit of a heave there. Road heave that almost a jump really, that bit. We'll come through these sweeping chicanes here. There's some good rolls here. Roll to the left, roll to the right, roll to the left, roll to the right. So that's getting the data we want for roll. Here's quite a banked left-hander. Really rough here as well on the road heave. Another good hard roll there to the right. I dare say we've got pretty much all the data that we're going to need already for this particular lap, though we are going up a pretty steep part here, so it'll be good to collect the elevation change on this part of Circuit de Charade. Got the last right-hand sweeper here. Ooh, easy there, Doc. I don't want to end up on the dirt. And back onto the straight. Now what I'll do to make sure I've captured surge, as in my lunging back and forward, so braking and acceleration, from a stopped point of view here, we'll really nail it. And then we'll brake hard. And that will have captured our surge. Okay, now we're done. We don't drive any further. We've had a good run. We've stayed on the tarmac. We'll hit the Windows key here. We'll get SimTools back up. System tray. And what we're going to do now, guys, to reward our efforts there, is we're going to hit save. So back up here on these tabs. Before you do anything else, do not hit stop. Hit save. Now hit stop. And we've just captured all of that telemetry under our roll, pitch, heave, surge, and our extra. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock them down so they no longer capture any of those parameters. All right, I've captured what I want to capture. If I want to tweak those for any reason outside of what the game's captured, I can then set these back into the blue. I could hit capture again, and then with these sliders, as you can see there, I can make adjustments to have more or less force applied to the already captured game telemetry. So that's the way you can do tweaks. If I'm not quite getting enough heave, I want more bumps, I want the top frame to rattle around more, I can increase my heave. Now, the trick here, guys, with min-max settings or max-min settings, the lower the number, okay, the stronger the force and the more the force comes in. It's not the other way around. Larger numbers, larger inputs in the max-min will give you more motion, can potentially give you more motion, more movement in your levers, but it will be slow. It'll be a bit sloth-like. Lower max-min settings will give you snappier, shorter, but faster reaction times in your motors. For something like heave, where there's lots of little road surface ruts and things like that, and you want to pick that up, you might want to decrease that less than what the game is capturing, for example. That's just an example of how you would go through and tweak that. Now, you've spent the time to catch this data for this particular car. You don't want to lose that, because the issue will be if you jump in a different car now. We've been driving an old 60s F1 car. Mind you, we can't mock the Lotus 49. The Lotus 49 was a breakthrough Formula One car. It changed Formula One racing forever. The Ford Codsworth engine, the way it was integrated into the chassis to give these cars more rigidity and better handling, and it was copied from then on in until, you know, those things improved even more with downforce, etc. don't want to mock the car, but if I jumped into a GT3 car now, or a modern day F1, these settings and these parameters, they're not going to be correct for that car. So I'd need to do another capture for a different car. That's technically really what you should do. Or in some instances, if you've got a GT3 car pack, you could pretty much capture the data for one of those cars in that car pack, and that would probably suit that whole car pack. The same, for example, if you wanted to capture min-max values, do a live tune for, say, Baz's 60s GTC car pack, a car pack I love. You could probably, again, pick a car in that car pack, do a live capture for that car, and that'd probably be pretty well suited to all of those cars. Or if indeed you are extremely anal retentive, which the doctor also can tend to be, you could go through just for the fun of it and you could capture data for all of those cars. So we've saved it, we've stopped the capture. We can come back to our Axis assignments now. I'll stop this. What I want to do is I want to copy that so then I don't lose that data. So what I'll hit is I'll hit copy here, and I'm going to name my profile so then I know what it is. And it's important to understand, guys, this is under Axis Assignments A. This has to be done for Axis Assignments A, and it has to be done for Axis Assignments B. So name for new profile, I'm just going to be sensible here. I'm going to call this Lotus 49, but I'm going to specify Axis A. Okay, so I know it's for Axis A. Okay. Now I'm going to come to B Axis Assignments, and I'm going to copy the same again. Lotus 49. But this time, I'm going to call it Axis B. So then when I go to load this in, I'm loading the degrees of force, filters, etc. for Axis B. If I was to load my Axis A save from Axis A assignments accidentally when I've got Axis B here open, these will all load with pitch, roll, surge, etc. in Axis B. So that's why you have to be specific about those two setups. So we've saved our car profile for the Lotus 49. That's the way you do a live capture. That's the way you get a good foundation. If this video has been helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and take it easy out there.